Hi folks, I just want to read you a passage from the book of Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew chapter 16 verses 1 to 3, and it says this: that the Pharisees and Sadducees came to Jesus and tested him by asking him to show them a sign from heaven. They wanted a word from God or something. And he replied to them, "When the evening comes, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, today will be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the sign of the times." Wow. Here Jesus is castigating the Pharisees because they are looking for some evidence of God's will as to whether they should believe in him, Jesus, or not. And Jesus rips into them and says to them, how can you discern God's will when you can't even see the obvious in front of your eyes? You know, folks, these words of Jesus apply to our generation of Christians as much as they did to the Pharisees back in those days. We are clearly entering into the final days of the time of man's rule, and many of us cannot see it coming. I mentioned this in my video last week. An old work colleague of mine used to be into these conspiracy theories. He had theories as to who assassinated President John Kennedy. He had theories as to who was responsible for the attack on the Twin Towers in New York City. He had theories as to who was responsible for the death of Princess Diana. All kinds of conspiracy theories went through his head, and he would talk endlessly to me about his conspiracy theories. One day he said, "John, do you have any conspiracy theories?" I said, "Oh yes, I do." And very, very interestingly, he said to me, "What are your conspiracy theories?" So I got a Bible out. I was a chaplain in the prison, so I was expected to carry a Bible. And I got this Bible out and I read to him from Psalm chapter 2. This is what it says: "Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth rise up and the rulers band together against the Lord and his anointed one, saying, let us break off their chains and throw off their shackles." And I told him this was my conspiracy theory. And I said to him, it's much more than a theory, and the evidence is staring us right in the face. And I went on to explain. There was a time when the Bible was our guide for what is right and wrong, what is proper or improper. But now, the rulers of this world, the politicians, are taking over this role. They're taking over the role of God, and they're deciding what is right and wrong, what is proper or improper. Have you ever heard such a thing? But it's happening in front of our eyes. This is Psalm chapter 2 living in front of our eyes. This is the sign of the times. Well, I've got to tell you that my friend was not very convinced. But seeing how he was not a Christian or a Bible-believing man, I wasn't too surprised at that. But what does surprise me is when I meet Christians who are not aware of the sign of the times, who continue to play happy church when there's a tide of evil on the horizon, which I personally believe will change the way the church operates in the future in the Western world. You know, when I was a kid in Sheffield in Yorkshire, yes folks, I'm a Yorkshireman, I'm proud of it. When I was a kid, I joined the Boy Scouts. And they taught us a motto that I think the church of today should learn. Do you know what that motto was? I think we all know it, don't we? Be prepared. Think about this, folks. If we can't see what is clearly in front of our eyes, how can God show us by any other means? I'll leave you with the words of Jesus, who said this in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 39 to 40. He says this, understand this. If the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. And then he said, you also must be ready. Remember the Boy Scout motto? Be prepared. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. So remember, folks, the next time you look up at the sky and try to make out what the weather's going to do, just remember to take a look at what is happening down here, all around us. There's plenty to see if our eyes are open. Don't worry about these things. If you're a Bible-believing Christian, if you're following Jesus Christ, do not worry, but be prepared. Okay, folks, have a great week. God bless you all. Bye for now.